We're joined now on the KTSA Connecticut Quality Water Softeners Newsmaker line by Willie Ng, who's a former SAPD and investigator with the Bexar County DA's office, has his own private security firm, Blue Armor, and we've talked with him about these issues involving Secret Service protection for the candidates before. Willie, thanks for coming back with us. You probably knew yesterday that you'd be hearing from us. It's just, I don't know, as a layman, you're the expert, so help me out here. It's just astonishing to me that even at whatever diminished level of security Trump had, which apparently represents the fact that he's not the president, and that's a distinction we can talk about in a minute, it just seems amazing to me that this guy could get this close with with an AR, and that all you really had going for you was the sharp eyesight or the luck of a Secret Service agent.
I find it very interesting as well that he was within 300 to 500 yards of the president. And to your point, yes, the Secret Service engaged really quickly, but the question remains the same as it did the first incident. How did he get that close? I know that there's speculation that he had been there for 12 hours based on the phone record, his phone being pinged, and he waited for a long period of time. But there's also information going out that this golf trip was a last-minute decision that President Trump made to go play golf. So how did that information get to the suspect so quickly? And remember, this was, for those who play golf, you have a front nine and a back nine. This occurred in the front nine. And how did he know the timing that the president would be playing that early, and that he hadn't passed that particular hole, which I believe was the fifth hole, to camp out there? It's really interesting to me, and I'd be curious to find out who is involved and who does the suspect know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, even if you give him the benefit of the doubt and you say, well, maybe Trump habitually golfs, maybe he was playing the percentages that it was a nice day and Trump was in Palm Beach, therefore, therefore he'll probably come golf. That's a lot of ifs. And then I guess I kind of walk us through what you think the security around Trump must have been like. They described it as kind of a bubble, but they say because he's not a sitting president, it's not a security perimeter around the whole golf course, right?
Right, which I think is ridiculous. Look, it's law enforcement. We always go through threat assessment. That is how we respond. That's what we're called first responders. We assess the threat. We provide the resources necessary based on the information we've received. The president had already been, attempted, assassination. So the threat assessment is high. For them to say that because he's not the current sitting president is ridiculous. Again, you assess the threats. I'm sure there were several threats that had come in on his life since the first one and even prior to that. And this is the thing. I understand, just like every law enforcement agency nationwide, they're short-staffed. My colleagues that are still in the Secret Service have told me that they're extremely short-staffed. But let me tell you what people don't realize is that a lot of the lower level and mid-level foreign dignitaries and the dignitaries in the U.S., they get Secret Service protection. Why? It makes absolutely no sense to me at all. The primary responsibility of the Secret Service is the protection of the president. All these others, the lower level dignitaries, they need to outsource that protection, whether it's HSI, whether it's a state, whether it's another federal agency, or a contract. Contract that stuff out. But the Secret Service, they're pulling resources from the Secret Service to provide service to other people that's not their primary responsibility.
Well, it's hard for me to understand also, and maybe this is what you're saying, that they could be, they've had an over 40% budget increase in the last 10 years, which is more than a lot of federal agencies. And Donald Trump is a particular figure. He's both a presidential candidate and a former president who, as we speak today in a New York courtroom, a federal courtroom, is a Pakistani guy on trial for a multinational cash plot to hit Trump. So it seems like you're not only protecting him for, the category of person he's in, but he might at the moment be the most targeted person you have to protect. And yet I don't see any indication in Yesterday or Butler that they're doing any more than the minimum. Am I off base there, or?
I agree. It's almost as if it's either pure ignorance or it's intentional. I mean, people are telling you we want to kill him. We're working hard on it. We're on this. It's not a hypothetical. So I don't know. Exactly. I thought after 9/11 we were supposed to see something, say something, right? Right. I agree with you. And again, there's so many resources that they can pull away from, just as I mentioned, the lower level dignitaries and mid-level dignitaries. They can pull away and easily provide an additional 60 Secret Service agents to provide service to the former president. Yeah. And remember, they even talked about, the first excuse was that he's not the nominee yet, right? He's just a candidate. Well, after the RNC, he officially became the presidential nominee for the Republican Party. So you're supposed to ramp up the Secret Service protection. Why are you still using that excuse that he's a former, not the current sitting? It makes no sense to me. Again, pure ignorance or intentional.
Yeah. Is there anything about this suspect that we've heard so far that kind of jumps out at you from your background?
Not yet. I mean, I'm still waiting. We're still waiting for more information to come. I know the things that he supported, leaned a little bit on the other side of the aisle. But I'll be interested to find out more information. I know again, this is, preliminary information, but he had been investigated previously right after the 9/11 incident for types of weaponry he had in his possession. He's got an extensive background in terms of with criminal history. I mean, again, I want to look at this full report again. How does somebody camp out for 12 hours on hole number 5 and they not do a perimeter check and a site visit prior to the president playing golf? I don't understand that at all. I do understand the shortage, but 12 hours in that area, if you do a perimeter check before the president gets there, then you would have discovered that person hiding out.
Does it kind of, I don't know, cause you to itch a little at the knowledge that he's a resident of Hawaii, registered to vote in North Carolina, but is lying in the bushes on Sunday in Florida? Like, even the Butler guy was a local loser, and there was no mystery as to why he was in Butler. This, to me, this looks totally different.
Well, that was my point when I first mentioned, is that I'm curious to find out who he knows and who he's been communicating with. Because to your point, he's not a local. So he may not know that every Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, the president goes to this particular golf course. And again, my understanding is information is coming out that this was a last-minute decision that the former president made to play around the golf. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more information that needs to come out on who this person is and who he knows.
Very interesting stuff, Willie. Thank you. Always, we appreciate the time. Willie Ng, whose company is Blue Armor, and former Bexar County DA's office and SAPD, and kind of our go-to on this stuff. Willie, thank you for being there for us. We'll talk to you again real soon.